The key issue that we're covering this week is the use of Microsoft Teams to compromise organizations. So we've got two examples of groups that are using Microsoft Teams to send messages that lead to malicious files, malicious SharePoint files. And they are using an open source tool called TeamsFisher to gain this initial access to be able to send those messages. And then once they've compromised those accounts, they may then be selling that access to ransomware brokers. So this could be a precursor to a ransomware attack. And this is really interesting because the SafeLink feature that Microsoft have is not being triggered by these type of files. And also because what we're seeing is this is cyber criminals borrowing tactics from nation states. So a few months ago, we talked about how APT29 was using Microsoft Teams as a way to compromise their targets. So interesting to see how that is developing. The casino breaches this week are obviously making the mainstream news, and if you look after small businesses, the question might be coming up that why do I need to worry when it's happening to big companies? I'm probably not that big of a target if they can go target these big companies and make so much more money. So I think a couple of things that they need to be aware of there is that actually this is giving those threat actors a lot of attention from law enforcement that they can avoid by going to smaller companies and yes, taking smaller paydays, but cumulatively earning a lot more money with a lot less attention. And if organizations that have spent this much money on security can be targeted, then it's very, very easy to go to small businesses that really aren't even doing the minimum. So maybe something to use there if that story is creating the opposite effect to the one we would want it to have. And last thing is we've got another week, it feels like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, with a UK police force, the Greater Manchester Police Force, suffering a data breach, this time again from a third party attack. So kind of interesting to see how that trend is going on over several weeks. As always, if you want to find out more about this, there's a load of nation state coverage in our newsletter this week, then you can sign up for that on the Orpheus website.